Welcome to the fourth video of Agile Product Journey. In this video, we will look at what is an inception phase, how do you get to know more about users, how do you build personas, empathy maps, and user journeys. So let's get started with inception. Just like discovery, inception is a phase where everyone involved in building the product will come together and will collaborate on things like discussing what your product does, identifying users, knowing more about the users, discussing features, and towards the end of it, you would probably want to have a MVP plan or a very high level release plan or some things like that maybe. So who participates in an inception? It could be your product owners, it could be your development teams, it could be your stakeholders or sponsors, and they may not be around for the entire inception event, but that as in when you are moving towards you are moving through the inception, they may participate or they may join you later as well. Ideally, inception is um, uh, runs for a couple of days. It's not something that gets done in a day. A typical flow of inception would look like where you would start with at a very high level discussing what your product is so that everyone knows what you're trying to build. Uh, Getting to know your users, discussing some features, what are the values and benefits of those features to the users, the sequence of your user journeys, and then towards the end you may be able to build a MVP or a release plan uh, from inception. So there are a couple of ways you can do it. There is something called as design thinking inception, where you work with the customer to derive all these things. There is lean agile inception, where you work on a few information that you've probably gathered in the discovery phase, and then you collaborate as a team to get to know more about your users and user journeys. So now let's look at users. Everyone that interacts or uses your product is a user. And each of this user has a certain goal to achieve to so that is why they use your product. So for example, if you see here, you have a customer whose goal is to buy, order, shop. You have a seller whose goal is to sell, offer, list products. You have a delivery partner whose goal is to deliver. You have a customer support who wants to uh, support the customer in needs. So likewise, in any given product, there will be one or multiple users who are trying to use the product and have a certain set of goals that they want to accomplish by using the product. So Rucha, let's start taking an example. We will do a lot of exercises in this video. We will identify users, we'll build personas, we'll build empathy maps. So how about we continue our example of the cab service?
Okay, let's continue. Can you zoom in a bit, please?
Sure, let's come in.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So who do you think are the users of our cab service app?
So, for sure would be the person who would be taking the ride. In our case, I think it was professionals or okay, passenger is like a good generic term as well.
Right.
Then also the person who's going to drive, the driver,
Okay. Okay.
and then
How about customer
customer
support?
support.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like mines.
Customer support. Okay. Now let's quickly and so there could be many more users because we are just trying to do a very high level exercise here. We'll take uh, things only for example.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because this is, as you mentioned, the total inception might run into days. This is just to give an idea.
Right. So, what would be the goal of a passenger who wants to use the cab service?
To reach a given destination on time and probably also safely. I mean,
To reach, can I just say very generically to reach a given destination?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Um, what would be the goal for a driver?
So if I just have to match the passenger's goal, then the driver's goal is also to ride the passenger safely to the given destination
And
or
that's an
complete the
interesting.
ride, or could be, sorry, you were saying something.
No, no, please come. So what I was saying is that that's an interesting point. There could be multiple goals that one user wants to achieve. In our case, like you said, so the driver could have an goal of riding the passenger. They could also have a
Yeah.
goal of making more money. So there could be multiple goals, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do know they have targets. If you complete X number of rides, there's a perk attached to it. So, yeah, but as you said that we can just stick with one for now.
Yeah, and then the latest section of videos, we'll also see that, if at all there was some dependency that we missed, maybe we'll catch it later when we put all the user journeys together when we do that. So customer support, I'm just gonna say support customers in need. How does that sound?
Yeah, I think that's fine as well. I mean, something for later could also be, in the minimum number of times. So there might be some SLA in terms of, getting it resolved in X number of minutes or so. For now, it's fine.
Okay. So the next exercise that we are gonna do, Rucha, is we'll build a user persona, and a user persona can be built in multiple formats. There's no given format to it. You can choose what you like. We'll do it at a very high level.
Yeah.
So are you happy to assume the role of a passenger?
Yeah, of course. I'm rather happy someone is building my persona.
Okay. So if you don't mind, I already have your photo here.
That's a pretty old one, but that's fine.
Okay. So it is important to put a visual representation of your user. You could always have an option of just putting a name, but if you want to get to know the user better and more, a visual representation or if an actual picture in some cases may definitely help. Okay, so let's start with name. I am going to say Rucha.
Mhm.
Okay, let's get to know more about you, Rucha, and if you don't mind, what do you want to?
Does this have to be the real age?
This is the age of a passenger named Rucha.
Okay, let's say 25.
Okay, and what does Rucha do?
She is a consultant in an IT firm.
Consultant IT. Okay, and where does she stay?
She stays in Pune.
Okay. And can I put in the bracket as urban city? Because if you remember from our elevator pitch, we said it
Yep.
it's the service for working professionals in urban cities. Okay.
Yeah.
So we already defined a basic goal for you, Rucha, to get to a destination. What else do you want to add? And I think you were saying something about getting in time and safe. So how would you want to add to your goal?
Yeah, I think time basically is a very common thing, but for me, I think safety is of utmost importance as well.
So you want to go safely. And is there anything else that you can think of that accounts to your goal?
I think it's just should be easy.
Okay, I will say hassle free.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, let's uh, get to know a little more about you. What are the things that you do in your day-to-day life, or um, what are the things that you would want to mention? So I would say,
W- What are these things like? If you can elaborate a bit more.
so it could be anything. The things that you do at work. It could be the daily activities that you do. If you go hang out with friends on a daily basis, or maybe out
Okay.
sometimes, and it is just basic things about you. How would you want to? How would you want someone to know about you in a very short?
Okay. So, yeah, you've mentioned IT consultant, and because of my job, I have to travel a lot. So, there's work related travel for sure, but I also love to travel otherwise whenever I get time, of course, for non work stuff. What else? I love to be in the nature. I love to taste different cuisines. And yes, I really love dogs.
You love?
Dogs.
Okay, likes different cuisines, loves dogs. Okay, and okay. So what are your frustrations? What do you think are some frustrations that you have, and maybe a little more, little aligned to the whole commute thing?
You- I live in the outskirts, and wherever I have to commute to office or to the city, usually I get a lot of cancellations saying it's too far. And
Okay,
sometimes, even if it's near, like I don't know what the perfect distance is. Sometimes it's too far, and that's the reason people don't take me. Sometimes it's too near for them to go, and that's the reason people cancel out. So that's definitely a frustration.
okay, that helps. And if you were to tell me a few pointers or maybe few one words to your personality, of how would you want to define your personality?
I think I'm a very strong person. I mean, not physically, but I really have strong opinions about, or rather, should I say, I have opinions about a lot of things. Um, Apart from that, I think being ethical really matters to me.
Values, ethics. Okay.
And yeah, also I also value honesty a lot. Is that enough?
Yeah, and the thing to note here is the more you get to know about your users is definitely useful. Like I said earlier, we've been just doing it at a very high level, and that's why we are only taking a few points. So, like I said, there are multiple templates. This is one of them that I got on the internet. But if you see, they've collected demographics, they've collected a personality trait, ambitious, admired, focused, real picture of the users, their goals, goals broken up, motivations, what brands influence them, a bio, how are they with respect to technology, and things like that.
I
So
think what we have is quite lightweight, but we could definitely go a bit deeper when you want to actually do this for your real users.
right, right. So how about we build a empathy map next?
Sure, let's go for it.
So when we're building an empathy map, what we're really trying to do is we are really trying to um, get to know what influences you and what takes you away in terms of the goal that you want to achieve, that could be resulting out of your current experiences, or maybe something that you wish you want to use but it doesn't happen. So uh, let's start with think and feel. So I'll explain you very quickly this template, and there could be again multiple templates. This is a common one. So we have think and feel, which describes what you think and feel about your current experiences.
Okay.
Um, you have here, which tells you about what you hear usually, which kind of influences you towards the choices that you're making now. C is where you do things, or you or where you can, or you will do things, or you will look for things when choosing an option. Again, say and do is what you say about the options that you have or things that you are looking for. Do is what you do in your current interactions and uh, experiences. And at the last, you can call it as a summary, or not really summary, but what are the pains that you are getting currently, and what are the gains that you are getting or you would wish for.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to start?
Yes, I might have a few questions, but let's tackle those as we go through each of these sections.
Okay, so let's start. Where do you want me to start with?
Let's start with think and feel.
Okay,
So this is what do I think and what do I feel while using the existing services, right?
right. So what I would really request you to keep in mind is the goal. It could be with the services that we are trying to bring in new, maybe something as a visual for you, or the ones that you are using currently.
Okay. So let's say when I sit or when I want to travel, the first thing that I think about is, especially when I've already boarded a cab, is whether this is the right route. I'm like really specific about what route do I take.
Say, is this the right true? Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
Um, of course, the I think about the route because I want to reach there faster. That's what I think that I should be there in uh, the shortest and the fastest way, basically.
Okay. Oh, how about feel? What do you feel when you are taking a ride?
Uh, Sometimes it is a feeling of being unsafe, especially if I'm traveling alone or if I'm traveling late.
Okay. Anything else that you feel?
Yeah, I also feel for the drivers, especially if it's like late hours, because I'm not sure for how many hours they've been riding.
So I'm saying feels for drivers at late hours or long hours. Does that justify?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that makes more sense.
Okay. So now we can look at here and see, or we can go to any other section, however you feel like.
No, I think that's fine. We can take here and see.
Okay.
So yes, what do I hear about all the things that are related to this? So I usually opt for these services which are private because I hear the public transport can be unsafe sometimes.
Okay.
And if I have to take my own vehicle, I usually hear things like, hey, the parking is full or it gets full after a specific time, be it for office or if, say, I'm traveling to some really local shopping market, parking is always a problem.
Okay. Parking not available. Anything
Yeah.
that you see when you're choosing a ride, or Anything that influences you towards what you choose for.
I think if I get any discounts, that's the icing.
Okay.
So while this is like the icing for me, a must have that I usually see is the safety features that are provided to me. Um, Whether I can share my location or share my ride details with someone if I'm traveling late. I might also see like how the organization is treating the drivers
Okay.
they're working for, or maybe how the drivers treat the passengers as well, and vice versa, of course.
So you see a lot of things. Driver's behavior. Okay. And anything that you think makes sense to call out in say and do.
Say and do. Do I can think of is usually when I sit, I check if there's a child lock just in case there's an emergency.
Okay.
I don't want to be locked from inside. Um, might sound weird, but I usually prefer sitting diagonally to the driver. Do we want to capture the reasons as well?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you why would that be?
I mean, in my previous trips, I've experienced this a lot. Sometimes they're just busy on the phone while driving. If they know someone is observing, then they don't do it.
So can I say you prefer sitting and I also you observe driver if they are on phone. Can I put that as a separate note?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you say about the cabs or the drivers or whatever commute options you choose right now or things that you are looking for?
Say, okay. I might talk a bit about, reaching fast and there shouldn't be any traffic. Would that go as a say?
Um, Reaching fast in traffic or wishing that the traffic is less or things like that can go in say it, if it influences it could go in here or see, and if it's
Okay.
just a thought or thing like that it could probably end up in think and feel. So what is that you would want me to capture?
I think this is fine. This is good enough to say. And do we have quite a lot of points?
No, that's okay. I mean, there's no real rule about it. And as we are saying again and again, this is just an exercise, and you're actually doing it. You would spend more time doing such things.
Yeah.
So,
So I think rather than saying reaching fast in traffic now that I have put in a little more thought about it, it's usually, when I'm starting a ride, I say, hey, I should not get any traffic on the way today. I just hope for it and I say it. I don't know if that helps.
that could also go in thing, but we'll keep it in say.
Okay.
Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to categorize your points in pain and gain. So pains are something that really frustrate you, and gains are something that either something that you are getting right now, or that's what you want to be able to do, or you wish for in whatever options you choose. So I think,
Okay.
yeah. So what are the pains? Is safety a pain? Is it safe to,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like a total must have for me.
right?
And currently, it's a concern.
Okay. What else is a pain for you?
I think cancellations just because it's either too far or too near.
Okay. What else?
I think never starting the ride on time just because the waiting time is a lot.
Punctuality of taxi cab. And what are the gains that you're getting out of the commutes that you do? Or
I would definitely want a hassle-free ride, multiple, like, because I'm a daily commuter, something like a subscription, possibly, where I also get rides a bit cheaper because, I'm a regular member.
okay, and so you don't, is that a gain for you that you don't have to drive? Are you would you consider that as a gain for you, that you can maybe work while you are
Yeah,
taking a ride?
good point, actually. I really hate uh, driving in traffic, constantly, clutch, brake, accelerator. So I don't want to do that. So of course, that's a perk for me as well. That's a
Can
gain.
commute without driving. Okay, so there could be many more, and thank you so much, Rucha, for um, telling all of us about you. So let's look at one of the examples that I had pulled up. The format is the same, it's just that you spend a little more time and get into a little more details. So if you look at it, it's really similar. Think and feel, hear, see, say, and do. The example that is put up on the board already here is about a person who's trying to check if she should opt for an alternative phone
Can
connection,
you
because
zoom in a bit, please? Yeah,
yeah, I just did.
thank you.
So, and how she feels about it and what's that she wants to get out of it. So that's more of an example, and you can always I mean, because this board will be shared, you can always go and look for it. You can Google map, you can do a Google for empathy maps. So that's empathy maps. And the next thing that we want to talk about is user journeys. User journeys are a very, very important part when you're trying to do a product development. User journey is the high level steps or activities or actions the user will do to interact with your product to achieve their goal. So what is that they will do? But most important thing here to remember is it is always from the user's perspective. It is not about the app or tool or system. It is about how the user will do it. The another benefit of doing it is this way, is that if you write a user journey that you're going to use for development and you use it after 10 years, it would still be valid because there's no mention of system tool technology in it. If the goal is valid, the story, the user journey is valid. So let's look an example, and then we will build a user journey, Rucha. Okay. So an example of a user journey would be, so for example, if a user is trying to read an email or write a response to an email that they have received, it would be, they go to a mailbox, they search for email, they read the email that they were looking for, they write a response to it, and they send it. If you notice here, there are no systems, tools, technologies, anything mentioned, and it's completely from the point of view of what a user would do at a very high level. There are no clicks, no buttons, no notifications, nothing like that. On the contrary, if you look at the example that I've cancelled below, it says go to mailbox screen, search email in the search bar, click on read email, click on reply button, hit send button. So if you see, there are a lot of uh, a lot of points here which are clearly calling out that there has to be, or there is a system or tool which will already have these things. So that's not really a user journey. That could possibly a user flow. So what is a user flow? User flow is a little detailed or specific path a user will follow again to achieve a goal, but this time it could be in terms of systems details. It could even have like screens, pages, and what mockups would look like and things like that. So that's more of a user flow. User journey is very plain, simple, and user's perspective. So Ruchak, do you want to continue as assuming the role of a user, and can we create a user journey?
Yeah, let's do that. I think because that will help us if we just use like one product throughout and one user.
Sure. And we will also talk about this in one of the upcoming videos, but because you have multiple users, you are going to have different user journeys, and you also have to prioritize your users. So ideally, you would also always want to put customer at a priority and take their journeys on a priority, because they are the early adapters and they are the ones that gonna give you the feedback. So okay, uh, again, oops, sorry. Again, there's no given format to it, Rucha, but I will tell you what we are trying to do here. What we are trying to do here is we will capture the high level steps here. And when I say high level steps, I will refer back to what I just showed earlier, a very high level steps of in sequence of what you as a user will do. Okay, in our example, to take a ride, what is that you will do? And then below the ones here, we will try to capture what are the different alternatives or what are different things that you could do to achieve your goal. Okay,
Okay.
so let's start. What will you do first to book a ride?
Okay. So I was just thinking aloud. I think open the app on my phone. But now that I think that could be an activity. So let's say the goal would be accessing Uber, and this is we want to consider what we want, right? Like to
This
be
is your to be journey. Yes, correct.
okay. Okay. So accessing Uber, do we want to write about the ways we could do it right away, or do we want
No, so
to
let's
complete?
let's complete a flow. Let's
Okay.
complete the journey, and then we'll write some examples of how we could do it. Some not examples, just alternates of how we could do it.
Okay. Then I would book a ride or request a ride.
Okay, request a ride.
Then
Not,
I would actually take the ride. Would that be a goal?
no, so your goal remains the same. You want to get to a destination. These are different steps that you would interact that
Okay.
you would take. So yeah, take a ride.
Yeah. And then maybe once it's done, pay for the ride.
I would never want to do that, but okay. Pay for the ride.
Sometimes it's not what we want. Sometimes it's what is the norm. But yeah, anyways, after pay, I would definitely like to review or give feedback for my ride.
Awesome. So review or feedback. Okay. So now if you see, we've at a very high level covered what are the different things you will do as a user to achieve your goal. And that starts from accessing Uber till giving a feedback, right? We've never
Okay.
mentioned anything which is about a website or an app or buttons or things like that, right? So now
Okay.
let's look at how you can achieve or how you can do this activity in alternatives. Okay, so what are the different alternatives you can access Uber with? uh,
So here I can talk about the technicalities, right? Like
you
booking it
can,
via
yes,
app or website. Okay. So app, yes, definitely.
you can do it by app.
Um, Website, I don't know if this still happens. Then say if I'm at an airport. maybe directly through their kiosk.
Kiosk, okay, interesting.
And
How about calling them if there is an option of doing?
call or SMS, yes, that as
Okay,
well.
say call, and there could be many more. Just take an example, right? Uh,
Yeah.
what are the different things you will do while requesting a ride?
So I can just enter the location. Like I'm hoping it will fetch my from location. I'll enter the to location.
Okay, so it picks pick source from phone location, correct?
Yeah, then I might
Enter
want to enter.
destination.
Yeah. If I'm at the kiosk, I might just, so of course the source destination is where I am. I might just call out the,
Okay, sorry.
it's fine.
So just let take the operator at kiosks to take details from you or book your ride, correct?
Yes, yes.
Operators help. How else can you do it?
Mm, what else? So the first one, when you say source, I'm assuming, yeah, enter destination.
This
Okay,
is we are
fine.
assuming as an app because you're saying from your phone's location, right? It could also
Yeah,
be from a website, like you can enter things manually there. Just saying is an option, right? It could be an option.
yeah.
Mm, okay, and what are the different things we will do when you're taking the ride, or how?
I might want to use the navigation to see what route we are taking and whether we are heading to the right direction.
Track your ride?
Uh, I might want to share my ride with someone, especially if I'm traveling alone or late.
Okay,
I think that's pretty much
okay,
it.
yeah. Paying for ride. So there are multiple. I mean, of course, there are multiple options. You can either pay by cash or you can,
Just maybe say online because they are like wallets or through card.
right,
Uh,
and
if there's a subscription model that I spoke about, then and if I'm commuting daily, I probably might not want to pay daily. Like I can just pay in advance or pay all at once at the end
so
of the month.
use subscription, I would say. And
Mm.
I remembered you said you look for discounts. So can we say that you would, when you're paying, you would probably look for a coupon code available, and
Would
then
that be when I'm looking for a ride or when I'm paying for it?
so in this example, because we've not come up with a sequence, it would depend, and that's a good question. So when we put all the stories together, we will bring those kind of things in.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll probably not put it here for now, and I keep doing that. Okay, so how different in what different ways will you be able to give review? Do you or do you
I
want to be
think
able to give review?
um, rate my experience overall of the drive. Probably give a rating to the driver as well, like on his skills.
Okay. Okay,
And
that's
probably there should be an option for the driver also to do that for the passengers. I mean, this is my journey, but
yeah. So
whenever
then
we
that's
cover
something
the
that we
driver's
will
journey.
cover in the driver's journey. Okay.
Mm.
Um, all right. So now, if you see, you've accessed your Uber, you've requested a ride, you've taken a ride, you pay for it. But this is just one possibility of what can happen, right? There are always multiple possibilities in real world.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's what we call out as maybe a alternate path. Okay. Maybe we call this a happy path. This is what you want. This is your desired outcome. There could be things which we call as alternate path, right?
Yeah.
So in an alternate path, what can happen? Maybe can you think of a scenario, or has something uh, do you have an experience where which maps to the alternate path where it doesn't go the way you want it to be?
Oh, yes, a lot actually. So
Okay.
I access Uber, I request a ride, and the driver cancels the ride.
Okay, very relatable. Request ride, ride
There's a
gets.
possibility of a cancellation happening from my end as well if there are change of plans.
Okay, so that's another alternate path, and like I said, there could be multiple of them. So let me capture that here. Access Uber, request ride, cancel ride. And so like there could be multiple users, there could be multiple paths, and for them there could be multiple journeys. And we ideally take all these journeys and we put them together, which we will see in one or the other upcoming videos. So uh, this is how we get to know our users. This is how we know what is that they want to do with the product, and this is how we build some known user journey, which is a very important part to be able to build a product. In the next video we are going to look at product backlog. What are the different ways of building a product backlog, and we are going to talk in detail about what's a good user story or what are different user stories. Thank you.
Thank you.